let me use the opportunity to ask you real quick. I read something that you put on LinkedIn, which was why I reached out to you, my brother. As as interesting as the guidelines, of course, lots of pages, as interesting, as exciting as it is, you were able to spot some, I'm not going to call it loopholes or maybe not so clear messages. So, what are those things that raise your eyebrow and you think that maybe we might need some more clarity in the new circular slash guideline that came from the CBN slash the SEC?
Right. So I think the first thing is that first of all, props to the CBN. I think the guideline is very straightforward. I also like the fact that the CBN had not tried to dabble into so many things. So you can see very clearly that there's an intention by the apex regulator to still understudy the ecosystem. So I imagine that this is like a first step in a lot of other regulatory guidelines that we'll still have in terms of regulating the space and having a lot more clarity. So as the regulator as the CBN has more clarity, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more follow-on guidelines. But I think one thing for me that I'm still, I've not yet understood what the game the play is how payment service providers exactly are going to play in space. So
That
there
part.
is a sort of restriction to people, partner entities that have settlement capacity, right? So and not all
There's a
PSPs
difference between
have.
switchers and yeah, I get where you're going.
I clear it. Yeah. So right. So the question is, how does this play out in practical terms? Right. That is something that I'm still sort of, exploring. I'm waiting to see how the market is going to respond to this. But I think that for me, the main takeaway is that now you can go ahead and open bank accounts. Now you can, as long as you have, your VASP license from the SEC, you can go ahead and deal with the banks. I
Okay.
think again, there's something that happens in the fintech space, which is that you have certain players who do not have licenses leverage entities that have licenses. So you say maybe you want to provide payment services, you can, leverage the license of somebody else. You can, maybe you want to provide wallet service and your license does not allow you to provide wallet service, to offer wallet services. You can leverage, maybe an entity that has that capacity. What I think or what I believe is going to be the issue here is that the regulator would not allow such a thing. Again, for obvious reasons, it's a very it's a very high risk at the moment, high risk endeavor. So having this first step by the CBN, I imagine there's still going to be a lot of strict oversight, right?
Yes.
So if you do not have the licenses, I'm sure the banks will not be allowed to deal with the open bank accounts for you at all. So I think those are the two things that I'm still waiting to see how it is going to play out eventually in the market.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Because of time, that'll be all on your side because I really want to appreciate you. Real quick, once again, Oyin Dolakpo, sorry, Oyin Dolakpo Olusesi is a data protection expert, a compliance and a legal personnel for fintechs, and I think it will be operating more in the blockchain space now. We don't have time, so I won't be able to ask you another question. There are lots of stuff I would have loved you to contribute to, but please stick around because you might just hear some things, especially from Mr. Timi Agama or from the guests that I have here. Thank you so much for featuring on the show today. I would love to bring you back more times.